a time. I mean, you just can't just do that to somebody.
I would hope not. Remember the story I came across a couple weeks ago where the teenage girl, she had her favorite horse, and her horse died, and she had it made up into burgers and stuff, which was bizarre. I couldn't imagine eating a pet that I love, like a family member, and then putting them in the freezer for dinner for the next few months or whatever. That's just you got to be heartless to do something like that.
No, it makes me wonder if she actually really loved the animal or just enjoyed having it just to have it. There's a big difference.
I think one step below that is probably stuffing them.
Hey,
so I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, Roy Rogers did that.
Oh, I know he did that. I'm sure nobody ate him first before they did that, but
I hope not. I mean,
I hope not either.
Yeah, because I had somebody one time ask me, well, how do they do that? So I took my kid to a shop that, if you want a duck or you want, a bird or a fish, stuffed, the guy explained, well, you basically take everything out of it and you have the skin. And then you create back what it was after you preserve the body.
Yeah. It's a form they put in there and they just wrap everything else around it.
Yeah. I wonder, if that'd be cool when I die. Somebody did that to their wife. I remember reading that a few years ago. Some guy had his wife done
that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's certain bounds of limits that I don't think we'll ever see in this country. I hope not.
Oh, well.
Everybody's different. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, Sam, do you have something on UFOs since we got a great guest coming on here shortly? God, I feel like eating some ice cream now.
Are you talking about a current one or?
Well, the one you sent me a message on Instant Messenger.
Oh yeah, the Montel case back in 1948. I was looking for something close to where I was raised, and it was pretty significant. It was called the Montel case. Took place in 1948, and it seemed like they just spotted a report from a highway patrol person of an unusual aerial object that was around Maysville, Kentucky. But they also saw the object close by to the, I believe, the tower at the airport at Fort Knox. And it was very white. I think it was about, I'm just looking at the report right now, about 1/4 the size of the moon or something. And it had a red border around the bottom. Kind of reminds me of an orb a little bit or something, but stayed stationary for about 1.5 hours. This was at the Clinton County airfield in Ohio. And so it described the object as having the appearance of a flaming red cone, and it had a gaseous green mist coming out the back of it. And they were observing it for about 35 minutes. But in another case, they had a couple of pilots that there's about 3 pilots, I believe, but one of them took off in a couple of Mustangs from the Air Naval Guard facility. And one of the pilots decided that, whereas 2 of them broke off, one of the pilots continued up until he lost consciousness and crashed. But the thing that was astounding to me when they found his body, in the wreckage, they found like tiny marks on his body, like tiny holes in his body. So it makes you wonder, if he got too close to the UFO and possibly shooting laser beams at him. I don't know.
Could be.
That was pretty weird, I think.
I don't know if aliens would even have laser. I think they would have something far more superior than lasers. I mean, I would just think laser, to somebody it's 10,000 or whatever years more advanced than us wouldn't even have laser. They'd have something, way different. Laser would be probably like a squirt gun to them.
Oh, yeah. Well, you don't know what it's energy weapons. They may not be laser, but It certainly blasts a hole in you, probably, if you're not careful.
Oh, like they did with that car a mile away. They burn a hole through the hood and burn up the motor. Hey, technology is really doing good, isn't it?
Well, what I'm worried about is when they do it from a satellite. And if they don't like you, if someone doesn't like you from whoever, and with the way GPS and satellites can zone in on a fly in your nose, can you imagine what an energy weapon could possibly do to you? If they want to take care of you, it wouldn't be too hard to do with the current technology.
Oh, you know what? Speaking about how they can just zoom in on you, this is back about 12 years, 13 years ago. I was going through Google. I was looking, satellite images of my property. Now, they would update it at that time every couple of days. But my wife, during the summer on, her breaks, she would go out on our compound and lay out there in part of a bathing suit. And I was looking at my property. I wanted to look at my roof of the house and a few things because you could actually see everything. It was scary. I mean, you could read a license plate off the car. And I told my wife, Linda, afterwards, I said, Linda, if you're going to go out in the backyard, wear a top. And she got really upset. She goes, what do you mean? Nobody can see. We're surrounded by cedar trees everywhere. There's no houses around here. No one's going to see me. And I go, well, why don't you come in the house and take a look at the satellite picture?
No.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
They didn't catch her. They didn't do a Google picture of her while she was sunbathing, did they?
They took a picture of my. I zoomed in on my property. There she was in the back of the house, out in the middle of the grass, out there, sunbathing.
So how did she react to that?
She never did it again.
Oh, I would be.
I mean, who's going to look at the satellite picture of my address and Google the address and look at the satellite? No one's going to do it. But what it did, it scared me. And before I even saw her in the backyard, I was looking at the car and I could read part of the license plate. I mean, I was zooming in that good where I could see the horses. I could see, the two goats we had at the time. I could, I was looking at the moss on the roof. And I was looking at all this stuff, you could see the gravel in the driveway. And I kept looking at it and looking at it. So, hey, let's look at this from this angle. There she was.
And they're just not, satellites are just not looking down. Like the license plate is sideways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
so
what's
you're
scary.
thinking, oh, well, they can't see the license plate because the satellite is just simply taking pictures top down. But they don't realize the satellites also take pictures from different angles in the sky in towards your property, not just on top of your property. So it's all over the place. So they can get a side view of a license plate or a side view of something else. They can get the full 3D effect from it.
That's scary, isn't it? I mean, you think about privacy, guys. I mean, I wonder how much the authorities, and not just the authorities like the IRS. Do you realize if you turned into the IRS, I'm just living on $20,000 a year, and after a couple of years, I'm still living on $20,000 a year, and they decide they're going to do a check on you before an audit. Well, why is this guy driving a Corvette if he's only making $20,000 a year and has 4 kids? And why does he have a boat? And then they can then start looking at your property. Why is this guy living in a $3 million house?
Oh, can't get away with anything anymore, can you?
No, that's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, and here's another scary fact for you. There's over 4,000 satellites up there. Now, they're not all ours, but 4,000 satellites floating around up there in orbit. Think about that.
No, did you see the spacewalk where the 2 lady astronauts were out and another satellite was, underneath in view for quite a long time? And it looked like you could just walk and touch it. That's how it's scary. You think about all this junk that's floating around in space. It's like Manhattan traffic hour.
Yeah, and here's another scary thought.
Oh, sorry.
That laser you were talking about, Gary, think if they mounted one that was a little bit more potent than that one on some of those satellites and what they could do with it.
give it a few more years, and, the ground war might not be the main thing. They could sit there and zap you, right? Hey, we'll just take out the White House. No problem. Push the button. Boop.
Well, I'm just worried about the space junk because, you think it's just floating by slowly. That's not the case. Some of that stuff is zipping by at such a high rate of speed sometimes that you take a little fragment, it could just simply puncture your ship. Or think about the suit you're wearing. If you're not careful, all it takes is just one prick of a piece of space debris that hits your suit, and there you go. Your decompression. You have decompression, and you die instantly.
Oh yeah,
so there you go.
Or you cut in half or decapitated.
Something.
Yeah, yep. It's scary. Not just that, but you think about even what they're in up there, right? Could you imagine that? I would be scared every minute while I'm in that station that maybe something might come flying and go into it.
Oh, yeah.
Very possible.
And I'm not talking about Batman, okay? I don't know.
I won't be up in space anytime too soon.
No. I don't know. If I was rich, I would have my ashes, sent out in space. Or I'll have it turned in Washington State. You can be turned into peat moss. So that would probably be the cheapest way because it's only a couple $100 to be turned into peat moss. And then, you know what? I know how my wife is. She loves tomatoes, so she could just, use my peat moss to grow her tomatoes.
You could have caught a ride with the SpaceX launch where they sent that red car in orbit or an out. That dummy that was sitting in there. And as far as I know, it's still traveling out there.
Probably, yeah. With probably an empty tank of gas, though.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Scotty's out there,
Scotty's out there.
Star Trek.
Oh, you're talking about Star Trek?
Yeah.
He had his ashes sent up to space?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. You didn't know that?
No. And I'm supposed to be a Trekkie fan,
Well, yeah.
You learned something today.
It's so funny. They had one episode of Star Trek Voyager where they actually did find a red pickup truck that had the AM radio, had a transmitter on it. It was transmitting stuff on some planet they were at. It was floating around in space. Go figure. That same car that was shot up by SpaceX will show up somewhere in another part of the universe for the same reason.
They should have sent a convertible, you know that.
Something. Well, it was you mean instead of the truck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Convertible would have been a lot better.
Yeah. Like an Audi.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Gotta go in class,
Well, yeah, I'd send an Audi. It's a lot cheaper than a Mercedes-Benz.
Money's no object.
Yeah. So, you know what? We're about 2 minutes away from, doing a break. I am so excited about November 15th. Aren't you guys?
I am, yes. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. 4 hours of us, talking and guests and, maybe even taking in some phone calls from listeners. I'm going to do all that. Of course, that means more phone lines, but I guess I can handle another computer to run 2 more Skypes, I guess.
That'll definitely add a better dimension to the situation.
Yeah, another headache. You know what happened? One of my sons came in here before airtime, did something on my computer. I lost all the audio off of for my bumper music, which I had to restart the computer. And then when I had to, I know it's his fault anyway, because when I had to restart the computer, then I lost all my, I had a couple pages of cool stuff I'd be talking about tonight, and I lost it all.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, what can
you
I
got to hit
say?
the save button every so often.
Yeah. I do. Well, the point is I bring it up and then I say the pages and I read it off and then I take it off. Anyway, I'll be talking to you, Sam, at 8:30, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'll be back.
Okay, my friend. Everybody take care. We'll be back in 2.5, 3 minutes.
As I gaze upon the annals of time, one thing that comes through we are not alone in this universe. It's a thought that rings